Hello, Ryan. Hello, Jay. How's my connection, audio, video? All right, thank you. Hello, JRF. Welcome. We'll get started in a few minutes. Give some more time for people to come in. Hello, Jayantha. Welcome. Hello, Karuna. We'll get started in a bit. Hello, Robert. Yeah, Jayantha, Morning Monastery Experience is probably not going to be on until Thursday. I have a bunch of things going on. Tomorrow morning, I got to take an Uber to a specialist dentist, and then the morning after that, I'm going to New York City for my visa for Indian. I got to go to the Indian embassy. So Morning Monastery Experience is gonna be absent a few days. Should be back normal on Thursday. All right. Hello, Julie. Glad to see so many people here so far. Then maybe that will keep me awake. I don't know if I'll do the full Dhammapalooza today. I'm still kind of tired from the retreat, but and then everything after. Let's share screen and get started. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Aneka jati sangsarang santhavisang anibbisang Kahakarakang gave santo dukkha jati punah punang. Kahakaraka dittosi punagehang nakahasi. Sabbate pasuka bagga gaha kuttang visankitang. Visankara gatang chittang tanhanang kayang ajjaga. Tinakanka. Yadahave patu bhavanti dhamma atapino jayato brahmanassa atassa kanka vapayanti sabba yato pajanati sahetu dhammang Yadahave patu bhavanti dhamma atapino jayato brahmanasa atassa kanka vapayanti sabba yato kayang pachanang avedi. Yadahave patu bhavanti dhamma atapino jayato brahmanasa vidupayang titati marasenang suryova ubhaseyang antantlikanti. All right, English. Craving is the builder of this house. Through many a birth I wandered in samsara, seeking but not finding the builder of this house. Sorrowful it is to be born again and again. O house builder, thou art seen. Thou shalt build no house again. All thy rafters are broken, thy ridge pole is shattered. My mind has attained the unconditioned. Achieved is the end of craving. All doubts vanish. As phenomena grow clear to the Brahmin, ardent, absorbed, his doubts all vanish when he discerns what has a cause. As phenomena grow clear to the Brahmin, ardent, absorbed, his doubts all vanish when he penetrates the end of conditions. As phenomena grow clear to the Brahmin, ardent, absorbed, he stands routing the troops of Mara, like the sun that illumines the sky. Sadhu. Hello, Rick. Welcome. All right, friends, it is Monday night, so that means it's time for another Dhammapalooza, the festival of Dhamma with the Maggaseka community, during which we do a variety of different Dhamma-related activities, although which ones we do is always up to the community, because the community basically decides how this Dhammapalooza is going to go. So if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer, you can put that in the chat. If you have any topics you'd like me to discuss or the community to discuss, you can put that in the chat. And if nobody has anything, well, I always have a sutta in my back pocket for us to read. So, hello, Janathan. Oh, it's not about, I already have free teeth cleanings. It's not about cleanings. Suffice it to say that because of some issues that I've had since youth, there most likely will be a time where I have dentures. Hopefully it's when I'm much older. We'll have to see how it goes. Maybe when I'm like 80. If I'm alive then. Let's see. All right. Just waiting to see if I see anything in the chat. Hello, Gregory. Welcome. I'll give the chat another minute or so, and then we'll read a sutta. So we just this weekend finished the Noble Eightfold Path in Daily Life retreat, and so at the end of now this month, at the end of August, we'll have Mindfulness of Death retreat. So if that sounds like something you'd like to attend, then you can check out the website. And then at the end of September, going to have the same retreat that I did last year about understanding the suttas. Framework for study and practice. All right. Let's share screen and get the sutta going. A longer guided sit. I might fall asleep in the middle of it. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right. So, the shorter discourse at Gosinga. So I have heard. At one time the Buddha was staying at Nyatika in the brick house. Now at that time the Venerables Anuruddha, Nandya, and Kimbila were staying in the Sal Forest Park at Gosinga. Then in the late afternoon the Buddha came out of retreat and went to that park. The park keeper saw the Buddha coming off in the distance and said to him, "Don't come into this park, ascetic. There are 3 gentlemen staying here whose nature is to desire only the self." Do not disturb them. Anuruddha heard the park keeper conversing with the Buddha and said to him, "Don't keep the Buddha out, good park keeper. Our teacher, the Blessed One, has arrived." So, those of you who may know the suttas decent enough, you might notice this actually sounds very familiar. It's because this is a kind of a connected to one of my favorite suttas where the Buddha starts out in one place and the monks are quarreling, and he gets like basically he's like, okay, I'm done with these monks, and he goes away, and he finds Venerable Anuruddha, and sees how his like the little group is living well together like milk and honey, kind of stuff. So this is similar. It's kind of a similar setup, right? Where the Buddha is again with these 3 monastics going to the park. Then Anuruddha went to Nandya and Kimbila and said to them, "Come forth, venerables, come forth. Our teacher, the Blessed One, has arrived." Then Anuruddha, Nandya, and Kimbila came out to greet the Buddha. One received his bowl and robe, one spread out a seat, and one set out water for washing his feet. The Buddha sat on the seat spread out and washed his feet. Those venerables bowed and sat down to one side. The Buddha said to Anuruddha, "I hope you're keeping well, Anuruddha and friends." Sounds like some kind of like TV show or something, right? Anuruddha and friends. Yeah. "I hope you're all right. I hope you're having no trouble getting alms food." "We're keeping well, Blessed One. We're getting by, and we have no trouble getting alms food." "I hope you're living in harmony, appreciating each other without quarreling, blending like milk and water, and regarding each other with kindly eyes." "Indeed, sir, we live in harmony like this. But how do you live this way?" "In this case, sir, I think I'm fortunate, so very fortunate, to live together with spiritual companions such as these. I consistently treat these venerables with kindness by way of body, speech, and mind, both in public and in private. I think, why don't I set aside my own ideas and just go along with these venerables' ideas?" So think about this. I consistently treat these venerables with kindness by way of body, speech, and mind. Right? Nobody can see into their mind, but they make sure that in their mind there is goodwill. And they don't feed ill will and resentment and such negative aversive mind states that arise. Why don't I set aside my own ideas and just go along with these venerables, and that's what I do. Though we're different in body, sir, we're one in mind, it seems to me. And the venerables Nandia and Kimbala spoke likewise, and they added, that's how we live in harmony, appreciating each other, without quarreling, blending like milk and water, and regarding each other with kindly eyes. Good, good, Anuruddha and friends, but I hope you're living diligently, keen and resolute. Indeed, sir, we live diligently, but how do you live this way? In this case, sir, whoever returns first from alms round prepares the seats, and puts out drinking water and the rubbish bin. If there's anything left over, whoever returns last eats if they like. Otherwise, they throw it out where there's is little that grows, or drop it into water that has no living creatures. Then they put away seats, drinking water, and rubbish bin, and sweep the refectory. You see that they have this system set up, and they kind of live in trust together, that they're not worried about, like, oh, they should have covered that, but they didn't, and things like that. If you've lived with groups of people, whether family members, roommates, even other, even lay residents and monastics in a monastery, you really appreciate this line, to be able to live with people like this. It's like, oh, and we all trust each other. We all know that we're all going to put in the work. Nobody's slacking. Nobody's taking advantage of anybody, and it just gets done. Right? That's a wonderful, rare, beautiful thing. If someone sees that the pot of water for washing, drinking, or the toilet is empty, they set it up. If he can't do it, he summons another with a wave of the hand, and they set it up by lending each other a hand to lift, but we don't break into speech for that reason. And every 5 days we sit together for the whole night and discuss the teachings. That's how we live diligently, keen and resolute. Good, good, Anuruddha. But as you live diligently this way, have you achieved any superhuman distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the noble ones, meditation at ease? How could we not, sir? Whenever we want, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unskillful qualities, we enter and remain in the first jhana, which has the rapture and bliss born of seclusion, while placing the mind and keeping it connected. There is a superhuman distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the noble ones, this, a meditation at ease, and we have achieved while living diligently, keen and resolute. Good, good. But have you achieved any other superhuman distinction for going beyond and stilling that meditation? How could we not, sir? Whenever we want, as the placing of the mind and keeping it connected are stilled, we enter and remain in the second jhana, which has the rapture and bliss born of immersion. With internal clarity and mind at one, without placing the mind and keeping it connected. This is another superhuman distinction that we have achieved for going beyond and stilling that meditation. Good, good. But have you achieved any other superhuman distinction for going beyond and stilling that meditation? How could we not, sir? Whenever we want, with the fading away of rapture, we enter and remain in the third jhana, where we meditate with equanimity, mindful and aware, personally experiencing the bliss of which the noble ones declare, equanimous and mindful, one meditates in bliss. This is another superhuman distinction that we have achieved with the going beyond and stilling that meditation. Good, good. But have you achieved any other superhuman distinction for going beyond and stilling that meditation? How could we not, sir? Whenever we want, with the giving up of pleasure and pain, and the ending of former happiness and sadness, we enter and remain in the fourth jhana, without pleasure or pain, with pure equanimity and mindfulness. This is another superhuman distinction that we have achieved for going beyond instilling that meditation. Good, good. But have you achieved any other superhuman distinction for going beyond instilling that meditation? How could we not, sir? Whenever we want, going beyond perception of form, with the ending of perceptions of impingement, not focusing on perceptions of diversity, aware that space is infinite, we enter and remain in the dimension of infinite space. This is another superhuman distinction that we have achieved for going beyond instilling that meditation. Good, good. But have you achieved any other superhuman distinction for going beyond instilling that meditation? How could we not, sir? Whenever we want, going totally beyond the dimension of infinite space, aware that consciousness is infinite, we enter and remain in the dimension of infinite consciousness. Going totally beyond the dimension of infinite consciousness, aware that there is nothing at all, we enter and remain in the dimension of nothingness. Going totally beyond the dimension of nothingness, we enter and remain in the dimension of neither perception nor non-perception. This is another superhuman distinction that we have achieved for going beyond instilling that meditation. Good, good. But have you achieved any other superhuman distinction for going beyond instilling that meditation? How could we not, sir? Whenever we want, going totally beyond the dimension of neither perception nor non-perception, we enter and remain in the cessation of perception and feeling, and have seen with wisdom our defilements have come to an end. So this cessation of perception and feeling is only attained by an arahant, right? And they even, so just saying it, they're announcing something, but they also, it says, our defilements have come to an end. This is another superhuman distinction in knowledge and vision worthy of the noble ones, a meditation at ease that we have achieved for going beyond instilling that meditation. And we don't see any better or finer way of meditating at ease than this. Good, good. There is no better or finer way of meditating at ease than this. Then the Buddha educated, encouraged, fired up, and inspired the venerables Anuruddha, Nandiya, and Kimbala with a Dhamma talk, after which he got up from his seat and left. The venerables then accompanied the Buddha for a little way before turning back. Nandiya and Kimbala said to Anuruddha, "Did we ever tell you that we had gained such and such meditations and attainments up to the ending of defilements, as you revealed to the Buddha?" The venerables did not tell me that they had gained such meditations and attainments, but I discovered it by comprehending your minds. And the deities also told me. I answered when the Buddha directly asked about it. Then the native spirit Dhammapalooza went up to the Buddha, bowed, stood to one side, and said to him, "The Vajis are lucky, the Vajin people are so very lucky, that the realized one, the perfected one, the fully awakened Buddha, stays here, as well as these three gentlemen, the venerables Anuruddha, Nandiya, and Kimbala." Hearing the cry of Dhammapalooza, the earth gods raised a cry. And this is also something that you see at the end of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, but you don't often see this. This is something that's fairly rare in the suttas. The different levels of devas, raising cries. Having heard the cry of the earth gods, the gods of the four great kings, the gods of the 33, the gods of Yama, the joyful gods, the gods who love to imagine, the gods who control what is imagined by others, the gods of Brahma's host raised a cry. The Vajis are lucky, the Vajin people are so very lucky, that the realized one, the perfected one, and the fully awakened Buddha stays there, as well as these three gentlemen, the venerables Anuruddha, Nandiya, and Kimbala. And so at that moment, in that instant, those venerables were known as far as the Brahma realm. That's so true, Digha. That's so true. If the family from which these three gentlemen went forth from the lay life to homelessness were to recollect those venerables with confident heart, that would be for the family's long-lasting welfare and happiness. If the family circle, the village, town, city, country, all the aristocrats, all the Brahmins, all the peasants, all the workers were to recollect these venerables with confident heart, that would be for all those menials lasting welfare and happiness. If the whole world, with its gods, Mars, and Brahmas, this population with its ascetics and Brahmins, gods and humans, were to recollect those venerables with a confident heart, that would be for the whole world's lasting welfare and happiness. See, Dika, how those three gentlemen are practicing for the welfare and happiness of the people, out of sympathy for the world, for the benefit, welfare, and happiness of gods and humans. That is what the Buddha said. Satisfied, the native spirit Digha Parajana was happy with what the Buddha said. And so we have here a confirmation of really the best ways to actually benefit other people, right? Practicing for the welfare and happiness of other people. It means becoming awakened, developing themselves, and then sharing it with others and being a role model. All right. Any questions or comments about that sutta? Yes, we're to recollect those venerables with confident heart. Yes, taking joy in others' good practice is onwardly beneficial. Yes, it also um, encourages you to support. You know, you see, oh, this is so much. These are so much of a benefit to the people in the area. We should support monastics so more good monastics come. And unfortunately, you also maybe might get some bad monastics too, like Udayan. But in general, if you have a handful of really good monastics, it's really good. All right. Yeah, yakas are a mixed bunch, for sure. Doesn't really say that they're evil in the suttas, at least in general. It's more like they're kind of gruff. they're very kind of aggressive and gruff. And at least one or two does, try to play around with the Buddha. As lay practitioners, how do we know if we're on track with our deeper meditations if we don't have a local teacher? Well, you know, it's not such a thing really that a teacher tells you where you're at. You know, it reminds me of, Bhante G. He would say, like, if you have to ask me if you're a Sotipana, then you're not a Sotipana. Right? You know, I think that you have to kind of be adept at understanding where you're at least the general area, and also being okay with uncertainty. The most important thing is to not overestimate your attainments. That's the most important thing. Because if you overestimate your attainments, you're setting yourself up for a fall. It's better to kind of underestimate it and think, well, I mean, I might be this far, but I don't know. It's better to underestimate than to overestimate. Overestimation can lead to suffering. So all you can do is really know that, I've been following the Noble Eightfold Path for such and such years. I've noticed a diminishment in my greed, hatred, and delusion. And that's it. That's all you can know. Yes, you if you get into jhanas, then that's pretty unmistakable. You know it. But even that is not necessarily a degradation of greed, hatred, and delusion. You actually have to put in some work using the jhanas to see things, see the three characteristics of existence. This is also why it's good to have a knowledge and understanding of the suttas and have the suttas as your guide. Yeah, well, that's good. If you notice that, then just keep practicing. It's always the Noble Eightfold Path. Right? It's no different. It's always the Noble Eightfold Path. You just have to, as you go into more deeper, subtle layers, you have to adjust things a bit, and it gets a little bit harder because of you've kind of taken off the gross layers, and now you're deeper in the subtle stuff, and it takes work. But it's going more subtle and more subtle and more subtle. Working on the more subtle defilements. You can even see that in the four Arya Sangha, right? And how you go through the stream enter, once returner, non-returner, arahant. You see the even as the non-returner, there's still some of the more really fine chains, fetters, defilements are still there. So you're always going deeper, working on more refined, subtle defilements. Hello, Visaka. Hello, Yankee. All right. Hello, Anna. Monastics are not allowed to discuss their attainments with lay practitioners. As a layperson, how and where can we discuss our deeper meditation experiences? You can do it with monastics. You can do it with other Kalyanamita, other people on the path. Again, just be very careful. Careful with overestimating. And, what I've noticed is because a lot of different teachers teach things in different ways, people can really fall into traps. Like people who kind of think that like jhanas are really easy to get into and things like this. That's no, that's not how it works. That really isn't how it works. No, I don't think you have to you know, be by yourself secluded for 4 months before you can get into jhana. I think that's the other extreme. But you just have to be careful. And when you do it, you have to make sure, choose the person wisely, because you don't want to make sure it doesn't turn into some kind of like one-upping or bragging session or anything like that. It's just a discussion of the path and your perception of where you're at. All right. Why don't we, for a little bit, I think I am going to end around 8, so we'll do an hour of Dhammapalooza. But why don't we do some word roulette? So, what word roulette is, for those of you who don't know, is, I say 3, 2, 1, and then you type in a word. And then on Sutta Central, I do a word search and we see what random suttas show up. Obviously, wholesome, not too crazy words. We've had some interesting suttas come out of doing this in the past. It's because this interesting randomness. So type one word in 3, 2, 1, go. Actually, I should probably share a screen here. Boy, this is there's a bunch of interesting words here. Bunch of interesting words. Relic. Let's see what we got for relic. We have some in the agamas. I don't know what BV is. Kudaka Nikaya. Okay. Yeah. Doesn't look like we have anything in the suttas. Jatakas. That's because really the only place... Wait. No, the Buddha doesn't even mention like relics. In the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, he talks about the 5, the holy places where people can go visit for faith. But they do talk about his, the ashes and the parts of the body distributed after that. But I don't think they use the word relics. So yeah. No. All right. Let's try itchy. What? There's a whole chapter on itchy? This I wouldn't have known. Oh, it looks like there's some Vinaya too. I had no idea there was a whole chapter on itchy. let me see something here. Looks like it's a chapter on the 5 aggregates. Oh, this is a big sutta, huh? Let's see. At Savati. I don't think we'll go the whole sutta, but let's peruse it. Mendicants, whenever ascetics and Brahmins recollect many kinds of past lives, all recollect the 5 grasping aggregates, or one of them. What 5? I had such form in the past, I had such feeling, perception, choices, consciousness. And what do you call form? It's deformed. That's why they call it form. Deformed by what? Cold, heat, hunger, thirst, touch, flies of mosquitoes, wind, sun, and reptiles. Let's, oh. A learned and noble disciple reflects on this. Currently, I'm itched by form. Let's see the word here. Oh, there you go. Kajati is being eaten, is being nibbled, is itchy. That is interesting. Karuna has a knack for these wild words. She really has a knack for this stuff. All right. In the past, I was also itched by form, just like now. If I would look forward to enjoying form in the future, I'd be itched by form in the future, just as I am today. Currently, I'm itched by feeling, perception, choices, consciousness. Reflecting like this, they don't worry about past consciousness. Huh. Let's look at some of the Vinaya. The monks sat on the ground and their limbs became itchy. I allow sauna benches. Did you know that monks are allowed saunas? I allow the 3 kinds of floors. I allow a place for water and a water scoop. I allow you to add scent. Oh, it went to another thing, didn't it? You didn't see that. Oh well. I clicked on it though. Oh, it does just go. I should learn that from there. Alright, so that's itchy. So what did we have next? Relic, itchy, fish. JRF has fish. A fish dealer. Let's see. At one time, the Buddha was wandering in the land of the Kosalans together with a large sangha of mendicants. While walking along the road, he saw a fish dealer in a certain spot selling fishes that he had killed himself. Seeing this, he left the road, sat at the root of a tree on a seat spread out, and addressed the mendicants. Mendicants, do you see that fish dealer selling fish that he killed himself? Yes, sir. What do you think, mendicants? Have you ever seen or heard of a fish dealer selling fish that he killed himself, who, by means of that work and livelihood, got to travel by elephant, horse, chariot, or vehicle, or enjoy wealth, or live off a large fortune? No, sir. Good, mendicants. I too have never seen or heard of such a thing. Why is that? Because when the fish are led to the slaughter, he regards them with bad intentions. What do you think, mendicants? Have you ever seen or heard a butcher of cattle selling cattle that he killed himself, who, by means of that work and livelihood, got to travel by elephant, horse, chariot, or vehicle, or to enjoy wealth or live off a large fortune? No, sir. Good, mendicants. I too have never seen or heard of such a thing. Why is that? Because when that cattle are led to slaughter, he regards them with bad intentions. What do you think, mendicants? Actually, I want to look up the word that's being translated as bad intentions. Is this mentally... Ah, okay. Now, the interesting thing that comes to my mind is the bad intentions that you're killing it to eat it, or is it like you really hate the animal and you're like relishing in the killing? That's an interesting one. I'm not sure exactly. What do you think, mendicants? Have you ever seen or heard of a butcher of sheep, a butcher of pigs, a butcher of poultry, or a deer hunter selling deer, which he killed himself, who by means of the work and livelihood go to travel by elephant, horse, chariot, or vehicle, or to enjoy wealth, or to live off a large fortune? Oh, it's the same kind of interesting thing about intentions, and related to the two suttas. One is the warrior, and the other one is the actor, right? Where the Buddha is saying one who has ill will when they enter into the killing field or something like that. And again, you wonder, like, what exactly in terms of intention, right? Yeah, it's an interesting thought experiment, I guess. I too have never seen or heard of such a thing. Why is that? Because when the deer are led to the slaughter, he regards them with bad intentions. By regarding even animals led to the slaughter with bad intentions, he did not get to travel by elephant, horse, chariot, or vehicle, or enjoy wealth or live off a large fortune. How much worse is someone who regards human beings brought to the slaughter with bad intentions? This will be for their lasting harm and suffering. When their body breaks up after death, they're reborn in a place of loss, a bad place, the underworld, hell. Oh, this is right before mindfulness of death. That's right, yeah. Mindfulness of death 1. All right. Let's see, what was next? Promiscuity. I don't know if that word's going to be in. That's a bit of a modern kind of word. Let me see. Did I spell that right? I guess so. Ah, here you go. Oh, it's a different translation. Reese Davids. All right, well, let's check out. Oh no, Tenisaro. Guardians of the world. Monks, these two bright qualities guard the world. Which two? Conscience and concern. If these two bright qualities did not guard the world, there would be no recognition of mother here, no recognition of mother's sister, uncle's wife, teacher's wife, or wife who deserve respect. The world would be immersed in promiscuity, like rams with goats, roosters with pigs, or dogs with jackals. But because these two bright qualities guard the world, there is recognition of mother, mother's sister, uncle's wife, teacher's wife, and wife of those who deserve respect. Alright, it looks like it's the same. There's a couple different suttas, but it looks like it's the same thing. Chosen. Alright, looks like there is one here that is in the Anguttara Nikaya, but it looks like it's fairly long. Whoa, wait a second. Is this Anuruddha calling out a monk with a bad? It is. That is interesting. I mean, I suppose since most of the suttas are set in his park, he's probably heard a lot of the Buddha's teachings, so he would know. Then he went to the monastery, wanderers of other religions. Now at that time, wanderers of other religions had come together, making an uproar, a dreadful racket, as they sat and talked about all kinds of low topics. Okay, so it wasn't a Buddhist monk at least. It was one of the other wanderers. They saw Anuruddha coming in the distance. They stopped each other by saying, "Be quiet, good sirs, don't make a sound." This is interesting too because usually when this happens, it's one of the monks. It's like Sariputta or Moggallana. But this is wanderers of other sects having respect for um, one of the chief lay people, one of the chief supporters of the lay people coming. He is included among the white-clothed lay disciples of ascetic Gautama, who is residing in Savatthi. Such venerables, like the quiet, are educated to be quiet and praise the quiet. Yeah. But that view is conditioned, chosen. Now this is Sujato translation. What is he using as chosen? Yeah, constructed. Chaitya? Maybe intent? Thinking? I think that's maybe. Yeah, I guess technically you could say chosen. It's a bit weird, but yeah. Poll. All right. I think this will be our last one too. So this works out pretty good. Probably the one about the dogs, the things chained to the pole, maybe. Let's see this one, sensual pleasures. Yep, a dog tethered to a leash and anchored by a stout pole keeps running around. Yeah, let's see. Bhikkhus, beings for the most part, are captivated by sensual pleasure. When a clansman has forsaken the sickle and carrying pole and gone forth from the household life to homelessness, he can be described as a clansman who has gone forth out of faith. For what reason? Sensual pleasures, whether of this kind or that, can be obtained by a youth. Inferior sensual pleasures, middling sensual pleasures, and superior sensual pleasures. All are reckoned simply as sensual pleasures. Suppose a young infant boy, ignorant, lying on his back, were to put a stick or a pebble in his mouth, because of his nurse's heedlessness. His nurse would quickly attend to him and try to take it out. If she could not take it out, she would brace the boy's head with her left hand, and hooking a finger in her right hand, she would take it out even if she had to draw blood. For what reason? There would be some distress for that boy, this I don't deny. But the nurse has to do so for the good and welfare out of compassion for him. However, when the boy has grown up and has enough sense, the nurse would be unconcerned about him, thinking the boy can now look after himself. He won't be heedless. So too, so long as a bhikkhu is still not accomplished in faith and cultivating wholesome qualities, in a sense of shame and cultivating wholesome qualities, in moral dread and cultivating wholesome qualities, in energy and cultivating wholesome qualities, and in wisdom cultivating wholesome qualities, I must still look after him. But when the bhikkhu is accomplished in faith and cultivating wholesome qualities, accomplished in wisdom and cultivating wholesome qualities, then I am unconcerned by him, thinking the bhikkhu can now look after himself. He won't be heedless. Where was the stick? I don't know. I don't know where the. I didn't see a pole there. Oh, carrying pole. There we go. That's what it was. Still, that was a good sutta. And that is you also see that simile of going into a child's throat with when a king and his little son are with the Buddha, and he asks the Buddha, "Is there any time you have to be kind of like harsh on your disciples?" And the Buddha's like, "Yes," and he brings up, just as if your son were choking, you would do this and maybe draw blood, but it would be for his long-lasting harm, right? So there's this idea of, it might not seem, it might seem a little harsh or a little rough, in the beginning, but in the long term, it will be better. So that's the concept there. All right, friends. Well, we've gone an hour. I think I'm going to call it. So, Sukhihotu, may you be happy and at ease. Practice well and be well. May you have a spiritually successful and peaceful practice until we meet again. Have a good week.